I don't know how you describe what's going on in the MMA sphere this week. Let's just say it's been very personal. And what I mean by that has nothing to do with the Holly Holm fight, which we should still be talking about, or the fights coming up, Khabib, Justin Gaethje, which we will talk about. I'm talking about Jon Jones and Israel Adesanya, two guys that have been chirping in each other's ears for, I think, almost a year now. And we've been talking about, is this fight ever going to happen? Can this fight even happen? Where does it happen? Well, we can push all that stuff. Where does it happen? How, when, what? We can push all that aside. We need this fight to happen, MMA community. We need this. And I'll tell you why. These two have a deep, I don't want to say hatred, but a deep disdain for each other at this point. They have both been on Twitter going back and forth, and it has gotten very personal very quick. And listen, some people are calling Israel Adesanya Internet Izzy. Shout out to Daniel Cormier for coining that term. It's funny. That's really good. Back and forth on Twitter, they've gone Israel Adesanya talking about how, and again, this is something I really don't care to see about Jon Jones' mom and how disappointed she would be. Obviously, Jon Jones' mom is unfortunately no longer with us. So again, I don't know if that was necessary, but Jon, in his own right, he's gotten personal with people before too. So it's none of it's necessary. We don't need to do the family, the religion, the race, any of that stuff. We don't need to bring that into fighting. But it has gotten very personal between these two. And at this point, why can't we have this fight? In fact, this is the fight. This is the fight. Conor, Dustin Poirier, which we've kind of talked about and floated around. I'd like to see that fight. Conor and anybody, I'd like to see that fight. I mean, come on. Proper 12. You guys know I'm a big Conor fan, but this fight is the fight to make right now. It's never been hotter than this. This is going on as we speak. The last couple of days, it's been Jon Jones and Israel Adesanya going back and forth, talking about how Jon, I've never been knocked out. This is how somebody left you laying, and if not for the referee, you could have died that night. And talking about Israel Adesanya's kickboxing days. Izzy talking about Jon always being on cocaine and getting arrested, and obviously the car accident with the pregnant lady. He's gone after Jon here, and Jon is responding to every single thing. Kelsey has just come into the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. He's responded to every single thing. And I don't really know what else to say, but let these two fight. Let them fight. It's the biggest fight we can make right now. Jon's not doing anything. Israel Adesanya, yeah, he's waiting for, and we have some big fights at 85. Jared Cannonier, possibly another rematch with Robert Whittaker, possibly a match with Darren Till, Jack Hermanson. But none of those fights sell like Jon Jones. And again, Jon's not doing anything. There's no title to be held up here. I don't know how the UFC is going to feel about possibly doing a catch weight, but we can do it at 205. And yes, Jon would have to cut to get to 205, but he's done that for 10 years, 10 plus years. And Izzy, I'm sure, would be down to fight him at 205. But this is the only thing that can happen. You can't say the things they are saying about each other, and as personally as they're doing it. Again, Izzy bringing Jon's mom in, Jon talking about Izzy's dad and his coaches and the way Izzy's been knocked out and all these things. You can't have this and not let them find a way to finish this. They have to have a way to settle this, and that is a fight. And to put more fire on those flames, Dana White wants this fight. And when the boss man wants it, the boss man finds a way to make it happen. It seems like Jon wants it. It seems like Dana wants it. It seems like Israel wants it at a certain time. And I think that's because Israel understands that he's not going to be told when or how to fight Jon Jones. He wants to do it on his terms. This is a machismo move, a macho bravado move. I want to do it on my time when I want to. Jon Jones, just because he's Jon Jones, doesn't get to bring me up whenever he wants, and we're just going to go fight because he wants to. We'll do it on my terms. It's a who's going to big brother who here. That's what this is. But regardless, you strip all that away. The fight itself is pretty damn interesting, guys. Now, we're not going to do a full breakdown here, but for people acting like Jon Jones is just going to walk through Israel Adesanya because he's bigger and because he knows how to wrestle, far more, obviously, than Israel does, and he's one of the greatest of all time. In my opinion, he is the greatest of all time. But Israel Adesanya is a special, special striker. And he's dealt with bigger men, and he's dealt with takedowns from high-level wrestlers before. I'm not saying that Israel can or will win this fight handily. What I am saying is that he can or will win this fight. Same with Jon Jones. He can or will win this fight. Either guy can, but to act like it's just a runaway contest for Jon Jones or Izzy is disingenuous. If you're just telling me that Israel Adesanya is going to walk in and knock Jon Jones out and that's going to be it, I can't really give your opinion too much credit. And vice versa, if you say that Jon Jones is going to walk in, double leg Izzy, hold him there and beat him up the entire fight, again, I can't give any credence to what you got to say because this is way more complicated than what you're saying. The fact that Izzy has done this to high-level strikers, Yoel Romero didn't even bother with trying to shoot on Izzy. You're telling me Yoel Romero can't wrestle? Kelvin Gastelum, he took Izzy down and almost got triangled. Izzy popped back to his feet and pieced him up and won that fight. Jon Jones offensively hasn't looked the same. He hasn't looked as aggressive to go in and really mix it up with guys. And you're telling me that Jon Jones wants to stand for 5 rounds with a guy like Israel Adesanya, who is a sniper, and take those shots? I think Izzy could hurt Jon standing there. I know Jon's got a legendary chin, and Jon hasn't really been hit clean in a while. You look at some of these fights he's had, especially the Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos fight. He got hit, but he didn't get hit clean, at least not that much. He's a great stand-up defensive artist, but that's what makes this fight even more interesting. Jon's fight IQ and defense versus Izzy's ability to make adjustments on the offensive side and utilize his range, a guy that might just be as long as Jon Jones, where Jon doesn't have that reach advantage, and Jon understands how to use his as well. The chess match there is insane, and we'll save that detailed breakdown for another time. I just thought it was something we had to talk about tonight. How do we not talk about these two guys? I mean, they're out for blood. Literally, Jon said, I want to rip this guy's neck off or rip his head off or something. And Israel's talking about how he's going to knock him out. He's going to make sure that his parents know how disappointed they are in him. I mean, this is listen, again, I'm not a big fan of it involving family and stuff like that, but you can't deny that this is money. And this is white hot. Dana White, he knows it. Jon knows it. I think Izzy knows it, and he's playing a little hard to get, but this is the fight. And folks, this is a perfect time for this to happen because Cody Garbrandt, unfortunately, is out of his fight November 21st. And now December 12th doesn't have a main event. We have spots open. Jon Jones, Israel Adesanya. The time is now. Make the fight.